Paul writes to Timothy, a pastor in Ephesus, that someone who can't keep charge of his own family should not lead the church. He should manage his own household well, keeping his children submissive. He tells Titus, who pastored on Crete, that the children of church elders should not be open to the charge of being wild and disobedient. According to some translations, the children even had to be believers, but the old King James Version catches the nuance of Roman culture better. They had to be faithful, because a faithful implies someone who can be trusted to pay for goods and honour legal agreements. But does this mean that Christian leaders should resign if their children go off the rails? In the Old Testament, the law was, "Honour your father and mother, so that you may live long in the land the Lord your God is giving you." This sounds like a promise, but actually it was a threat. The penalty for a stubborn and rebellious son who ignored parental discipline was death by stoning. In the time of the New Testament, the head of a household in Roman law, the paterfamilias, was responsible for every member of his family and for any slaves he owned. If any of them committed a crime, he was legally expected to be their judge, jury, and executioner. Yes, in theory, he could literally execute them if their crime deserved it, though he could send his child into exile as a legal alternative. If they didn't apply the law, then no one else had the authority to do it. So the criminal would go unpunished and might commit a worse crime next time. Therefore, a father in New Testament times who couldn't or wouldn't manage his household when his children or slaves broke the law was a threat to society. His refusal to punish was a social evil, as serious as a father who lies in court or covers up sex abuse perpetrated by his son. A man who did this would clearly be disqualified as a church leader, both then and now. But a modern rebellious teenager is very different. Parents might do everything in their power to teach their children about the faith, to help guide them through life and, where appropriate, to punish them, and yet they may still rebel. This isn't due to parental failure, and it isn't what Paul was talking about. Paul isn't saying that a rebellious child proves their parents can't lead. After all, God himself is a father who has a whole planet full of rebellious children, and that situation doesn't reflect badly on him. Paul is warning against choosing a church leader who had failed to carry out the legal responsibilities that he had in that culture. Parents should not stone their rebellious children, as the Old Testament commands. And pastors should not lose their leadership position for failing to manage their children, as the New Testament commands. Both of these commands reflect the culture that these believers were living in. Ultimately, in any culture, children have to make up their own minds. And sometimes we have to let them make their own mistakes. As God says in Ezekiel 18, children don't inherit guilt from their parents' sins, and similarly, parents do not bear the ultimate guilt for their children's rebellion. But we can keep praying for them. God bless.